Back ahead of week 3 of Super Rugby, and we're going to look at some of the main talking points. Ryan, a bit of a weird week coming out of the Lions camp. Initially, over the first couple of days, they kind of seemed to change their media schedule. They didn't really want to kind of go through the normal processes of chatting to the media. And then 2 days before the normal team announcement on a Thursday, they've named their team on a Tuesday. It's been a bit strange from that Lions camp, and I'm not quite sure what's the reasoning.
Yeah, very strange, especially because in the context of the last 2 seasons, they've changed nothing from the usual scheduling. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe Swayze has got something up his sleeve, maybe he's watching NFL coaches and the way they manage the media. I don't know. I mean, there's no logical explanation for it. I'm sure they've got one. And I mean, we can only guess at that, but I don't know. I don't know.
I think the team announcement, what surprised me was seeing Franco Mostert move to blindside flank. You know, lanky lock who's made that move. Swayze said that he chatted to the new Bok coach, Rassie Erasmus, about it. So clearly they see he's got the mobility, the work rate maybe to be that sort of utility forward, but a very interesting move and one that I'm not quite convinced about. I don't know what you think.
Especially in the context of his performance last week, which I thought was exceptional. I think at this point his best position is probably lock. I'm always wary of players being sort of tagged utility players. When last does that work in South African rugby? I can't think of an example of when that has worked consistently, as opposed to picking specialized players. And I think Franco Mostert's best position is at lock, and that's where we should play him. If Rassie has a vision of playing him at blindside, then that's where he needs to play for the Lions. That's my view. I mean, I don't know what you think.
And then that may just be it. I think Rassie's kind of put a little word maybe into the ears of the franchise coaches. But let's move quickly into a prediction. And we mentioned last week the impact of Mitch, and we saw that very much so in terms of the Bulls playing a really innovative game. The forwards offloading, lots of little passes, attacking space. It was good to see. And I think they'll be really competitive against the Lions, especially at Loftus. But from my side, I just think the Lions just got that little bit more settled, experienced look to them. And I still reckon they will just edge it, maybe by 5 to 10 points. But it really shows that how far the Bulls have come, that I think they'll be very competitive.
Right, and this is one way I'm going to go against you. I said at the start of the competition that I didn't think they'd be a factor. I still don't think that they're title contenders. But watching them last week was really a breath of fresh air. I thought you could see Mitch's tactical philosophy clearly in the way they played. And let's remember they played against one of the tournament's elite teams. Yes, they travelled here, and yes, I think they looked gassed at some point in the final quarter. But let's take nothing away from the Bulls. They were exceptional. And I think they're going to shock the Lions this week. I think they're going to do them by 5, maybe even closer. So I'd say 3-5. It's going to be a really tight one. But for me, what I saw last week, I think they're going to do it.
Yeah, interesting one. Looking then elsewhere, Sharks Waratahs. I mean, Sharks coming off a bye, and we saw again the Stormers imploding against the Waratahs, which we'll come to later. And I think you said you probably could really see them blowing it, which they absolutely did. But I just had a little look at a stat. The Sharks having conceded just 8 tries in their last 6 games against Australian opposition, and I think once again I don't see the Waratahs offering too many threats beyond Israel Folau. So I think the Sharks will find a strategy to take care of that threat and then just back their defence as they've done generally. It'll be that template of kind of suffocating the Waratahs out of the game at Kings Park. Sharks 8-10.
I think defensively they are superior to the Stormers, and so defensively they can strangle the Waratahs, because I don't think that particular Waratahs team have a game plan B that to circumvent not dominating that gain line or breaking the line as much as they did against the Stormers, and playing from there in broken field situations. So I think defensively is where the Sharks are going to win this game, and we won't see a repeat of what happened in Sydney last week. I think the Sharks are going to do them by a wide margin. I think that might be 15 points better than them.
So we agree on that one. The final game, obviously we just mentioned the Stormers, and I'll let you have a go at them just now if you so choose. But the fact of the matter is they now come up against the Crusaders, defending champs. And look at these stats, Ryan. Crusaders have won 14 of their last 16 games against the Stormers, which has included each of their last 6. Beyond that, the Crusaders have never been defeated by the Stormers when playing at home, won 10, drawn 1, and they've scored an average of 31 points per game across that time. I mean, that just tells you what the Stormers are going to be in for, and I don't think it's going to change at all. The Stormers are going to get done in by 15 to 20.
Yeah. Look, what more can you say about the Stormers? Like the Stormers supporters that still retain hope in this particular group are deluded. What changed from last year? That's the question we asked right at the start of the season. What has changed from last year? The key recruit is Raymond Rule, who is a Currie Cup level winger. And they've still got the same coaching staff in place. Nothing has changed. So how then can you heighten your expectations around the Stormers team? They've got good players, but under the guidance and tutelage of Rugby Fleck, they're going nowhere. So I said last week, it wouldn't be surprised if they lost in Sydney, and they lost in Sydney, and their performance was woeful, and the excuses that came afterwards were tired and just inadequate. And now they go to the Crusaders. I mean, you read all of those stats, but you didn't even need to know all of those stats to know that they're up against it this weekend. 25 for the Crusaders, 25 plus for the Crusaders this weekend.
All right, great stuff. Thanks, Ryan. All the South African teams are in action, so enjoy the rugby. We'll be back next week.